Hey grade 7 students, I hope you're doing fine. We have reached week 7 of e-learning. You're doing great. This week, our writing lesson is about poetry writing. In order to be great poets, we will identify the meaning of poetry, determine its structure and elements, recognize its types, and identify a haiku poetry in order to be able to compose one. A poetry is a type of writing that uses language to express imaginative and emotional qualities. It attempts to share personal experience and feelings. So, in other words, it's putting words on a paper to express thoughts and ideas that will give the reader the sense of delight, awe, and wonder by using different elements. In order to write a poetry, we should be aware of its structure and elements. What does it consist of? It consists of four main parts. The stanza, that is also called verse, which is a group of lines in a poem, just like a paragraph in an essay. Rhyme, that is word patterns that contain similar sound at the end of the words. Meter is the rhythmic structure of a poem. It's like the beats of a song. You can sense it by tapping for each syllable. Line break is where a line of poetry ends. It doesn't necessarily end with a punctuation. This will help the reader determine how the poem is read. A poetry also includes certain elements. 1. Sound devices, such as rhyme, meter, a rhythm, alliteration, and refrain. 2. Figurative language, such as simile, metaphor, personification, or hyperbole. 3. Imagery, such as describing the five senses to help the reader form a picture in their mind while reading. 4. Repetition. This element might not always be available, but if, it is then considered an element. It helps to emphasize a feeling or idea, reinforce the overall message the writer wants to convey, and creates resonance and rhythmic patterns. So, poems are packed with these elements. Poems often hold more meaning with less words because these elements hold so much hidden information and the words are so precisely chosen. Here is an example of how to determine the structure of a poetry and its elements. Today, on your birthday, consider your luck. You could have been born as a pig, cow, or duck. You could have been born crying, oink, quack, or moo. You're lucky you didn't wind up in the zoo. This poetry has two stanzas. The first one starts from today till duck. The second one starts from you till zoo. The rhyming words in this poetry are luck, duck, moo, zoo. Meter is the rhythm or beat. When you're reading it, divide it first into syllables and clap on each syllable to make a beat. Today, on your birthday, and so on. The line breaks are 8 in this poetry, as you can see at the end of each line. As you can also see, alliteration was also used, like oink, quack, moo. Repetition also, as you could have been born. There are many types of poetry, but we're going to focus on 4 of them: haiku, limerick, sonnet, and narrative. In this lesson, we will get to know haiku poetry. A haiku is an unrhymed Japanese verse form that consists only of 3 lines. The first line is of 5 syllables, the second line is of 7 syllables, and the last line is of 5 syllables. So the haiku is of 17 syllables in total only. The goal of writing a haiku is to suggest large ideas using few words. It usually includes images from nature involving the seasons. So a haiku is usually short and simple. Here is an example. Warm soup in a bowl. Letters of the alphabet hang on the teaspoon. So we can tell that the poet is talking about eating soup that has alphabet-shaped pasta using a teaspoon. Writing a haiku is very easy, though there are rules for it. As we said before, it consists of 3 lines, 5 syllables for the first line, 7 syllables for the second, 5 syllables for the last line. You should also include sensory details that is related to the 5 senses. Use concrete images like using vivid descriptions to communicate concepts and scenes, and using words that represent colors, objects, texture, and sounds that will help the reader picture a powerful image in their mind while reading your poem. You can consider using figurative language. You have to write in the present tense. And finally, use an intriguing ending that will show fascination and will leave the reader with curiosity and interest. Now, you will watch a video where I created a haiku poetry that will help you create your own haiku. Here is an example of how to write a haiku. Step 1. We have to decide the type. Is it nature, holiday, or seasonal? I'm going to choose nature. Step 2. We have to decide the topic. Let's suggest trees, flowers, grass. I'm going to choose trees. Step 3. Think about what is different in your last line. What observations do you want to make? Step 4. Start writing. The first line should be of 5 syllables. The trees sway gently. The birds sit on top of them. Don't poop on me, birds. So, as we can see, the first line is of 5 syllables. The second line is of 7 syllables, and the last line is of 5 syllables too. Here is 1, 2, 3, gently for 5. The second line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The last line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 syllables. And now, you can write your own haiku. Thank you. You are challenged this week to write your own haiku. Choose any type, seasonal, nature, or holiday. Write your haiku or record yourself doing one as in the video. After writing it, fill in the checklist. Don't forget to submit on time. Have a nice week and stay safe.